Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it for all of you coming today. Thank you so much. We are at, it's Paul's Pizza? Pizza Paul's. Pizza Paul's. We're at Pizza Paul's now. And what city are we in again? Lakeville, not Lakeview. I know it said Lakeview. It was not. It was Lakeville. We are in Lakeville, New York. We are at Pizza Paul's. I'm so happy that people came out today. Thank you so much, everybody who came. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this again so that people understand there are candidates running throughout New York State, and now is the time for us to start thinking about voting gold. One of the issues people bring up consistently, and I hear it and I feel it, it's an emotional issue and it matters to everybody, that is the idea of fairness. I get it. People want things to be fair. True, it feels right. It is right. We want things to be fair. What's been happening is we haven't been having fairness. We've been having forced equality. Forced equality is not fairness. Forced equality is the opposite of fair. And I bring this up because when I teach leadership in my classes and my courses, I talk about the difference between equal leadership and fair leadership. Equal leadership, people think is great. Sounds great. It sounds good. I treat everybody the same. But the problem is, as a good leader, not everybody needs the same things. Not everybody is in the same spot. Not everybody wants the same thing. So equal leadership winds up being actually lazy leadership. And it winds up putting everybody in the same box by default. In an attempt to be equal, everyone winds up suffering. But instead, you want to have fair leadership. That is allowing people to take what they can take, to do what they do best, to grow as they can grow from where they are in their life at their time. And that changes our people's lives. That changes and adjusts. That's fair leadership. That's better for everyone to grow. Boy, is that hard. That's not easy. Not easy to check that box. Not easy to make a law that says that. But it's a whole lot easier to create an environment that allows people to do what they want to become as good as they want to be. I know the golden rule is do unto others as you would have done upon yourself. Well, I will go one step further. Let's go to the platinum rule. Do unto others as they want to be done upon. How about that? It doesn't actually matter what you want to do. Let's do what they want to do. Do unto others as they want to be done upon. Now, how do we make that better? How do we create a system that's more fairer? Well, I have someone here who's going to talk a little bit about that. Some of his policies and ideas. He's running for Congress here in Western New York. He's got some good ideas how to make things fairer for everybody. Fairer for you to grow your business, to grow your world, to grow your society and culture, to grow it all. Man, I'm talking about running for Congress, District 27. Got it right, 27. Yes, District 27 here in New York, Western New York. Duane Whitmer. Come on out, Duane.
Thank you, Larry. Thanks, guys, for coming. What I do by day is I'm not a politician. I'm actually an accountant. I own an accounting practice, so I deal with taxes every day and learn the tax code pretty heavily because that's what I do. So I actually developed a tax plan that's ingenious and really equal. First of all, we're going to eliminate all tax on Social Security income. That's it never made sense to me that you retire, you get a Social Security check, you make more than $25,000, you give taxes on the taxes that you paid. It's time to give our seniors more financial flexibility. And we talk about seniors that are living in poverty. Well, let's stop taxing. That's a good start. Number two, I want to shift some deductions. I'm going to make this really fast. Not everyone loves talking about tax as much as I do.
So not so fast. Take your time. It's
okay.
Good.
But moving certain deductions, childcare deductions, eliminating the cap on student loan interest deductions will allow people to lower their taxable income and then therefore pay less tax. That's a huge win for us. Also, what I'd like to do is shift healthcare.
What's the benefit of that?
Childcare benefit is if you have children. Right now, you get a $600 credit for up to $3,000 in childcare payments. What I'd like to do is make it removed from your taxable income. So you'll actually lower your taxable income, but it's going to help the childcare you pay. Yes. Secondly, same thing with health insurance premiums. Right now, it's an itemized deduction, and you have to. It's complicated to get a benefit for doing it. I would remove health insurance premiums right off your taxable income. So in doing so, again, you're pushing your taxable income lower. So people who don't have the benefit of an employee-sponsored health insurance, and instead of paying tax on their health insurance premiums, it's being removed from their taxable income. In doing so, a single mom who makes 40 grand a year, in theory, would pay no tax. So we're removing the tax ramifications of lower and middle class people.
Nice.
Unfortunately, Trump's tax plan didn't do that very well. It had some benefits, it had some issues. What this is going to do isn't going to raise taxes on lower income people or middle class. It's actually going to cut their taxes drastically by lowering their taxable income. The lower your taxable income, the lower tax you pay. It doesn't affect tax rates. We don't need to worry about them. We don't need to worry about loopholes to help corporations. All we need to do is focus on lowering taxable income for the individual. Lower taxable income, lower tax, more money in their pocket, problem solved. It's a win across the board. On the corporate side, I want to restructure the corporate tax rate. Trump's plan actually lowered it 35% to 21%, but it actually raised taxes on small businesses. So what I'd like to do is actually a graduated income tax on corporations.
That's like what we pay as individuals.
Personal, yes, it's the same as personal income tax. So say 0% of the first $100,000, and this directly benefits small businesses. So a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, a lot of myself included, I have a client that makes $100,000 of income on average a year. He then pays $21,000 in federal income tax. Yes, that $21,000 could be an employee. It could be health care for his employees.
Yes.
It could be rent for a new location.
Yeah.
It could be reinvested into the community he lives in. A lot of small businesses, like where we're at now, they shop local, they hire local people, the money stays in the community. That's $21,000 that can be put back in the community, not getting sent to DC, so bureaucrats can send it on sending your children to war. It directly goes to the local communities. And so it allows them to reinvest in their own company and grow. By eliminating the corporate loopholes that large corporations get, let's talk about the bailout. This recent bailout where you guys all got $1,200 maybe. Massive corporations got hundreds of millions of dollars in PPP loans, in funding, in kickbacks, in bailouts. That doesn't help my friends, my family. That doesn't help small towns. That doesn't help small businesses. It's rich politicians bailing out their rich donors and not caring about small communities. So by cutting these tax plans and putting a graduated income tax for corporations, you're going to directly lower the small business income tax paid, which allows them to reinvest back into their community, reinvest their own money, their own profits back into their business. It's easier to see. It's not trickle down economics, which everyone likes to rail against. This is directly benefiting these small corporations, small businesses. And in small towns like this, where farming is important, farmers are being crushed by Cuomo's regulations, by federal regulations. They're going out of business left and right, and a lot of farmers are killing themselves because they can't stay employed, they can't stay in business.
And you mean literally killing themselves?
Literally,
yes. That rigorous.
Suicide rates in farmers in Western New York is higher than average. And so this will allow them to keep their land, keep their family, keep their business, and stay afloat without getting these massive tax bills that they can't afford. So that's two of my policies. Obviously, we're pro small government, so we want to start cutting the regulations that allow these small businesses to compete with larger businesses. What we have now in society is big business number one lobbies government to pass a regulation, which makes it smaller for smaller businesses to compete. We need to start focusing on cutting some of these regulations that are going to allow small businesses to compete, especially with farmers. Tyson lobbies Congress, the FDA, to pass regulations to make it harder to butcher animals. And so Tyson can send their assembly line processing to the butcher shop at a lower cost. My father, who owns a farm in Arcade, he can't send 5 or 10 cows to get slaughtered. It's just not cost effective. So we're pricing out the smaller farms. But if you check history, my father has never had a recall with the FDA. Tyson has. So you can tell me Tyson's safer, but statistically speaking, it's not. So stuff like that, less hormones, better product, keeps us healthier. So then when Corona happens, less underlying conditions that are going to kill you. Lower obesity rates, lower health problems. So it's kind of a trickle down. Libertarian society, libertarian philosophy will benefit society different levels. So it's just getting people like me elected so we can do stuff like this, not bail out our corporate donors. Corporations don't donate to me, I'm not sure why, but
tell us your website.
So my website's DuaneWhitmer.com. Facebook page is Duane Whitmer for Congress. And I'm running in New York's 27th district for Congress against the Delaware North twins, Chris Jacobs, whose family owns Delaware North, and Nick Murray, who worked at Delaware North. And so Yeah, 2 corporate attorneys that have been in politics for a while against an accountant who's never been in politics. So, yeah.
Any questions or comments from everybody?
Go ahead.
I'd like to suggest that help farmers out. I've done this myself, is that if you have land that's not doing anything, rent it out to farmers. For the, I do my neighbor's Mennonite, and I rent out my land to him to farm. My land gets taken care of far better than I could ever do it.
Yep.
And it's returning, he's being helped for, that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the government should be involved in that. If you want to rent your land, what you do with your land is up to you and him. Yeah. It's 2 consensual adults deciding a business transaction. You don't need the government to tell you what to do with your land. And so it's beautiful.
Love that.
Yeah. Excellent. I'd like to see more farm to table. I mean, again, I was always told my body, my choice. If I want to go to a farmer and order his food, why can't I? Why do I need to have the government tell me if it's safe or not? Kind of like pasteurized milk, kind of like a lot of stuff where the government gets involved and passes regulations. Well, kind of the risk is on the consumer. Oh, good.
There we go.
See, look at our hands.
There we go.
I pre-answered the question.
I love that. Awesome. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Duane.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
All right. So come on, Master, we're doing the 6 feet thing. We're being good. All right. So yes, we are being good. We're doing the 6 feet thing. We're being good. So you brought up a lot of interesting things, which I want to expound on a bit. What we're seeing now is a collapse of our cities. We have a lot of politicians out there screaming and yelling about how they want to beat the other guy up. But what you just heard from Duane was an actual solution. You just heard an actual way to support small businesses, to support small farmers, not just, well, I'm Trump or I'm not Trump, right? I support Trump or I don't support Trump. That's what most people are actually campaigning on. Duane's campaigning on actual answers. He will give me said that again and again and again. But there's something more important about this, which he's bringing up, which is even more important. That is, our cities, as I mentioned, are collapsing. People are leaving cities in droves. They've learned that you don't have to be in a big city to make money. COVID taught us that the hard way. We're all on Zoom or Skype or StreamYard or whatever we're on, and we're doing all these other things to make money. And those wealthy people and those heavy hitters, they aren't going back to the cities. They're going to stay in those rural or suburban areas. Well, one of the reasons why the cities are going to start collapsing, and in some cases burning, while our politicians decide to fight over who will rule the ruins, who will rule the ashes and rubble, is that all the people who support those heavy hitters, whether those are social heavy hitters, whether those are financial, whether those are management heavy hitters, they're not going to be in the cities anymore. Where are they going to be? They're going to move to those suburbs, those rural areas with those people. So what's going to end up happening? A bunch of small businesses are going to have to begin to go to service them. They're going to have to. They're going to have to. And if they don't, what's going to happen? Only the franchise will survive. And a franchise is a big business, even though it's owned by a small business owner. I'm not against franchises. There's definitely places for franchises within our economy. Of course there is. But when you have that big regulation like Duane was talking about, only franchises can survive because they're the ones who have the lobbyists. They're the ones who have the big legal departments. So how are we going to support those people? By having plans like what Duane talked about, being able to support those people who are now moving out to rural areas, moving out to suburban areas, or even better, the people who are right now in those suburban areas, in those rural areas. Now they're able to go, wait a minute, more customers and more money. Let me now provide a service. Let me now provide a product that will make those people happy and satisfied and build my community. You will hear libertarians constantly say, it's about localize this, localize that, community this, community that. The difference between us and others is we have actual plans to make that happen. Duane is doing that. If you're in Western New York, try to support him and the many other libertarian candidates that are out there. This is our year to vote gold. You have to vote gold this year. But Larry, I can't vote gold this year. This is the most important election of our lifetime. Yeah, I've heard. Yes, it's a wasted vote, of course. Let's be very clear. You're right, it is the most important election of your life. That's correct. And that's why you can't afford to not vote gold. You have to vote gold this year. Remember something, whether Trump wins or loses in November, either way, there's going to be a lot of unhappy Americans after that election. tens of millions of them. And where they're going to go? To us, if we grow our party and our movement, and we can. This is our year to vote gold. Do it now. Then you're going to say something, well, Larry, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat. I'm not a Libertarian. Okay, good for you. If you keep voting all red or all blue and you're unhappy with what happens in our country, it's your fault. Look in the mirror. Your fault. You can vote red or you can vote blue, and you can vote gold. You can do both. You can find a Libertarian who's running in your area and say, you know what? Let's build that up. Why? Because if you have a strong third party, a strong Libertarian party, you will have better Republicans and better Democrats. They will have to be better, or the Libertarian will steal their votes, which is what I wanted to do, actually. I hope you all become Libertarian. We don't care about this. But I know you're not all going to become that. I hope you will. But you could still stay a Republican and stay a Democrat. Don't do that. But you could do it and still vote gold anyway. So now is our year to vote gold. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all very soon. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you.